Yeah,
we're
we'll start
both
with
like,
you, James.
Hi, I'm James. How are we doing?
hello
Yeah,
everyone, I'm Adriana.
and Eric, and we're starting with Thursday PD. The topic of this week's episode is Google Innovators. What's it all about? And to begin, we're just gonna just hear something from James. And anything you feel like sharing for a moment,
Sure.
and yeah, we'll just go around.
Okay, so one of my top tips is we've had a lot of problems with the Wuhan virus and things are getting cancelled. Students are missing from our lessons for all sorts of reasons. But this is an amazing piece of software. It's not normally free, but it's called Camtasia. And the thing is, they will give you a 30-day trial, which is enough for you to record your lessons and for you to record your presentations as you do them and send them straight to YouTube so that students don't miss out. And it doesn't create any extra prep time. I literally pressed 3 buttons, recorded it, uploaded it a few minutes later. The other alternative is you've got kids, they're great tripods. Get them to video your lesson and then they can send it off to your friends. And again, 0 prep time for that, but it means those people that are missing for one reason or another don't have to miss a moment of your exciting lessons.
Nice. Cool. So what we're doing, instead of like an intro, Ralph, can you hear me, Ralph? Maybe not. He hasn't got his earphones in yet. So
Can
yeah,
I
it
give
doesn't
you
have to be.
mine?
Yeah. It doesn't have to
Then
be,
we'll wait for Ralph.
a tip or anything. Whatever you feel like, a quote or just anything that makes you smile.
Okay, so today I was doing a lesson on Twitter and blogging with my grade 4s.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. I was showing them my fantastic Twitter, which has all of you in it. I was showing the stuff that you were posting and how I've got this online tribe, a whole wall of words, thousands of words, and they picked up the one swear word that someone had put in there. Said, "Hello, miss, what's up?" Whoa. And I thought that's incredible speed reading and had to just rush on. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant.
That's funny. Well, I wasn't sure. Yeah, Ralph, we're just instead of saying, like a super basic introduction, we're just saying a little something positive or funny or something that makes you smile, and it's my turn, and after that it's yours. So what you reminded me of just now, Adriana, is, well, I over the winter break, then I asked my students to prepare for an audition of a Shakespearean scene, an original Shakespearean language, a monologue, and every year they complain that the original Shakespeare in English is very hard. English is particularly hard for some of them, and then Shakespeare. So this year I told them that I was going to do the same thing, but I was going to do a scene in Korean. And I worked so hard on that scene. And I did pretty good. I feel all right about it, but I couldn't figure out why the boys were laughing. I said a bad word without meaning to, and I did it for 3 classes in a row. Instead of saying something like "such bad behavior cannot be condoned," I said something else could not be condoned that shouldn't be condoned. So So anyway, I learned a new word there. So Ralph, you have anything to share? Oh, can't hear you yet.
I was going to say, for Ralph in Thailand, this was hilarious. Carol Dweck's work, we talk about the growth mindset and all that. And all of the Thai assistants were absolutely in giggles because the key thing is, I can't do something yet. And in Thailand, apparently that means something incredibly rude.
Oh, really?
I don't know if Ralph knows what it is, but
I know what it means.
I think it's super rude.
Oh no, that's too bad.
But what's really funny is the head teacher had no cultural awareness whatsoever. That what she was saying was a really rude word in Thai.
Wow, that's too bad. Yeah, it really pays to know the local language. Okay, so we have so many people. A moment ago, I saw Georgina. She's in the backstage, and Stephen, who I haven't met. All these invisible people who will join us sometime.
Well, hey, I am potentially just a viewer here because all of you are Google Innovators and I'm not. So
not either. I think
isn't that point of asking the questions, Ralph?
Exactly. Yeah, Ralph, we need your help. We need your help. You and me, Ralph.
James,
yeah.
Where did you get initiated? In London or in?
Yeah, London 2012.
That was the first one, wasn't it?
It wasn't the first one, but it was definitely one of the earlier ones.
Okay. So yeah, just to kick this off, What in the world is a Google Innovator? I mean, I actually I was reaching out to Google trainers when I was giving free access to an app to Google
Hmm.
trainers, and then somebody said, "How about innovators?" And that was the first time I'd ever heard of them. And
Hmm.
what is it? What's an innovator?
I think I mean, a Google trainer can be also a Google innovator, but the key
Yeah.
thing is they are educators who've shown excellence in some way, normally related to Google products, but anything in terms of technology that they're doing that's interesting. And the big difference is that you have to apply through video. So it's not a qualification in the sense of you're going to learn a certain amount and you're going to get tested on it. Your test is, have you done something amazing? Are you going to make a brilliant video about it and prove that you are genuinely being innovative in
Uh-huh.
education? So hence the word Google Innovator.
Okay, so a Google Innovator has to be someone who is currently teaching, or can it be someone who's an ed tech teaching, or what?
You can be an ed tech person, but they
Yeah.
are aiming it at people who are teaching. So if you're a coach or something like that,
Mhm.
then yes, that's also fine. I believe you're allowed to do it as a deputy head. I think principals and things, there may be a limit on that, just because they know that you are making purchasing decisions for the schools.
Gotcha. So what about if you did something innovative, um, like how current or recent does your innovation need to be to qualify you for as an innovator?
Can I just
Um,
say though, can I
Yeah,
just say what it
sure.
is
yeah.
that it's the start of the process of innovation. So
Uh-huh.
how
Mm,
they pitched it with us in Singapore last year is that they were looking for you to pose a problem or a situation that you wanted to do something about. And what they were really specific about is that we shouldn't have the answer. So we're
Gotcha.
almost taking that, I really want to solve this issue, this problem, this
Mhm.
amazing potential, and I
Yeah.
want Google to help me. And so that was the structure that we were supposed to come there
Mhm.
without the solution. And with
Okay.
the academy and the year's mentorship,
Mhm.
we should come out with a solution or a
Gotcha.
trial or something that we're doing. So they were really clear on it. You weren't to start it by saying, I think if we did this, the world would be a better place. It
Uh-huh.
was just sort of like, for me, I pitched a library project because that was
Right.
my
mm,
passion. And
Yeah.
it was just sort of saying, this frustrates me that if I move into the library, I can't take Google with me.
Mhm.
There's
mm,
nothing specific for librarians, and so we
Yeah.
are already isolated because we sit in a library and say, come see my books.
mm.
And
Right.
now we're not even linked with G Suite that they're
Yeah.
using. So that was my problem that I took to the Innovator Academy to say, okay, right, you need to help me to
Mhm.
find a way to solve this.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
I
So
think that's
you
a very good answer to that question.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so you take this, you present a problem, and even if you have some possible solutions in your mind, you're not stuck
Mm.
to any solutions. You just present the problem, and then you sort of qualify to be in the program. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they want to see that you have the background to be able to do something and make that difference,
Uh-huh. Oh,
and kind of showing your commitment to it as well.
okay. So problem plus qualifications, like they want to believe that you can follow this through.
Yeah.
And you talked about help, Adriana, like what kind of support would Google give you if you qualify for this program?
Okay, so once we got there, we went through the design thinking process. So it's like, trying to problem solve and troubleshoot. We were in teams. I
Mhm.
don't know how they made up the teams, but it felt quite random, but
Mhm.
it worked really well. Yeah, you'll tell us, Gary, about how,
Mhm.
but it worked really well because you just matched up with people that, you would probably never choose or you would never think to choose, that kind of
Uh-huh.
thing. I paired with someone that I think they thought that we had a similar mind frame, design thinking, and stuff like that. Some of
Mhm.
them worked, some of them really didn't. But
Pairs. Some
then the
pairs
whole
work, yeah.
process after that is that we get a mentor,
Uh-huh.
that we get a directory of mentors, and then we have set points throughout the year about how we're going to, work through. We get this book being a mentor or being a mentee to help the relationship along, that kind of thing. So we have key points all the way through, and we have support all the way through as well about how our project's going. But our project doesn't necessarily, we don't leave the academy and think, right, I know what I'm doing. It can change over the year as well. We try something, it doesn't work. We try something, but we've got another amazing idea that's an offshoot somewhere else. So what we end up with might probably really maybe is the product that we thought it was going to be at the beginning.
Okay. So I want to welcome Stephen. Hi, Stephen.
Oh, by the way, Stephen is. Go ahead, Stephen.
Hi.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Sorry for coming late. I'm
Oh, that's
Steven.
fine. Yeah, welcome.
I'm a Google certified innovator from Southeast Asia, Manila 2014, together with Gary.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and yeah, and also like I'm one of the coach. I met Adriana. Hi, Adriana, again.
Hiya.
Nice to see you again here. Yeah. And James, you met in the Energizer. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah. I'm currently like a trainer here in Jakarta, based in Jakarta. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. A
So
Google
we
trainer?
have-
Like you like
we
a
have-
regular trainer or some kind of innovator trainer?
Oh,
No,
Eric,
Yeah.
there's a certification for Google Innovator, Google for Education Innovator. That's one, which are our topic now.
Right.
We also have Google for Education Trainer.
Right.
So as
Okay,
of now, we have, James, are you a trainer also?
No, I'm not a trainer. I'm still an educator.
Okay. So Stephen and I are both trainer at the same time, innovator, and we're both also
Gotcha.
coached last 2019.
Okay, gotcha. So Adriana was just talking about the program and how you got paired up. So Stephen, like, let me go ahead and just ask you, since you know that like some of us, Ralph and I are think the
What word is next?
Sorry.
Okay. Maybe
Yeah.
he's asking about how did you got paired? That's what.
Yeah. So how did
Yeah.
you guys make up the groups and the pairing and the fantastic pairing with our, with our trainers, our coaches? Because I had Jessica and she is wonderful. As were you guys.
So Stephen, would you like to answer?
I think it's based on the application that you send, because before you go to the Innovator Academy, you have to submit like the problem, just like Adriana mentioned before. You have to submit your ideas, your problems, and I think it is very important to have somebody who has really like. I think it's not really. I cannot say it's like the sameness, but I think it could be like something that has I think it's about connecting with people with similar interests. It might not be totally the same, but I think it's kind of hard because everybody have different problems, different interests. But I think when you mention about specific, like, I don't know how they call it, I forgot the terminology, but it's about
Perspective.
how
Just a link, right?
yeah, just the link and the problems. I think if you guys somehow have similar interests, that's how you can get connected to your pair or your friends.
Your
I think
affinity
so it's like affinity buddy. Yeah, if I'm not
So-
mistaken.
I don't know if that
remember.
is a good moment to share that, but I used to chat with one of the staff in America who would siphon through all these applications and decide who can come. And that was now not according or depending on group, how the groups are found, but how you get in. And those people look for your reach, and reach is basically how much you can help or influence other teachers to make use of Google products meaningfully. And so reach is how many Twitter followers you have and how big your page on Facebook is.
Interesting.
Or used to be how many people follow you on G+, which is now defunct,
Right.
basically in for normal people. And if you haven't started sharing anything, then they don't see how you can help others, so to say.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, I think that's the challenge, isn't it? Because if you're not sharing, then there's not much point in Google investing in you, because you're not you're not going to be able to share that with other people. They're looking to make the biggest difference possible. So they are looking for a social network profile, whether that be Twitter's the most obvious one for most people, but YouTube or other social platforms. Instagram,
or if you don't have a Twitter account at all and you have a famous blog or something, then that counts as well. For sure.
It can be any of the main social networks or a publication platform of some sort. And I think Facebook is also quite important in Southeast Asia. I think that's a little more local. In the UK, it was definitely more about Twitter than anything else.
Yeah. I have to just say that it is, however, funny that once you work not with Google but for Google, most of the Twitter activity seems to die out from Googlers.
Googlers are definitely more open than the Apple guys, but yeah, they have because they then represent the company, so they have to be very careful with what they say. But that I think they've loosened up a little bit on that actually. I noticed a few Googlers are certainly posting things, but they're very careful to post it as a personal account.
Well, James, you mentioned that Google is careful who they invest in, and that kind of reminds me. What is the cost of an innovator, like what is it? What do you call it? A conference? No. What training? What do you call it when?
Academy.
Innovator Academy.
So the cost to the innovator themselves is that they have to pay for their travel and probably their hotel if they're going away from their city.
For the event itself.
There's no direct cost for the event itself, but obviously it costs Google a lot of money in the sense of
that's what you're talking
everything
about is an investment. So how big do these, is there a consistent size, or some of these events academies bigger than others? Are they somewhere in the similar range each time?
That's a good question. They did keep them quite limited in the beginning, but how many are yours, Adriana? I think that's a probably good indicator of the recent ones.
I don't know. Was there 6 teams of 6 or something?
No,
about 50.
Yeah.
Gary, it was about 50 back in London 2012, but I wondered if the numbers had changed.
What do you got?
Gary, would you say there was about 50?
No. During the Southeast Asian 14, maybe in the older batches or the older cohorts, there are 50. But so I don't know when it started, wherein they limited to 36, wherein they have 6 coaches, and each coach has 6 teachers to supervise. So that will be your group. So the reason why they trim it down to 36 is to make sure that everyone is being paid attention to during the 3-day event. At the same time, before the event, we have something to do. So it will be too hard for coaches to attend to each one if there are more than 6. So they have limited it to 36 per cohort, and then 6 teachers per coach. So that's why.
And also, each one of those has to get a mentor, which is obviously a big commitment in itself. And that one-to-one mentorship is incredibly expensive because it will be an innovator who does that. So you're getting the best of the best of the best, so to speak.
So wait, so tell me, expensive? Like so I don't get it. Is somebody paying for something, or is it like the investment of the mentor? A
mentor is giving their time.
Are the mentors being paid by Google?
No, mentors are not being paid, but they've got to give up their time for the mentee. So we want to know we get the right quality of people coming through. So, and we want to know that your project's going to make a genuine difference.
Yeah. Have you had a mentee? Has anybody here had a mentee?
That'd be me.
Okay.
Me also. So James and I are both mentors.
Yeah.
And I'm a mentee.
Yes.
I am mental.
Yeah. I was waiting for that.
So it's expensive because Google is spending for this, not really being mentors and mentee are not being paid financially, but they are giving tokens. And take note that we're not just talking about one cohort. We're talking about several cohorts in each year.
Yeah. So if you say I'm going to be a mentor, then you're committing to a lot. Is that true?
Yes, for that one individual mentee, yes.
And the mentor has to pay their own flights to the energizers?
No, it's a different case. No, well, for the energizers, it's a different thing. Being a mentor, you don't have to be in the energizer.
Yeah, a mentor is no travel involved. It's mostly done remotely.
Okay.
Okay.
And
So
what is
sorry, I
this?
mixed up mentor and coach. So
it's a different thing.
Do the coaches, do they have to pay for their own flights there?
No.
I hope the coaches are paid. I hope, because they're actually working in the capacity as a Google employee. Really, when you guys turn up and do the academy, you put a lot of work in. Even like, I think, was it the last night or most of the evenings, we're all like, yay, let's go and have dinner. And you guys are like, yay, we're going to a meeting to talk about the next day. So I think if Google aren't paying you, they really need to address that, because that is
don't worry, we are being taken care of.
Well, so when you said something about tokens, Gary, I'm curious about tokens. What is that you were talking about? I don't know what those are.
These are simple T-shirts, sweatshirts.
Okay.
This kind of things that innovators
gestures.
Have. Each one has this one.
Okay.
Yeah, so, branding, marketing.
So how much does that go for on eBay? Just wondering.
No idea.
I sold mine to my colleague for 20 ringgits.
Nice.
Okay.
I do think that the way the system works, I mean, I'm part of it, so, you know, it's very positive for me, but Google do incredibly well with motivated individuals who come together to, you know, work their magic. They believe in the product. It's free. Sharing is caring. We're all doing a show tonight about Google. We are promoting without them even prompting us. We've run conferences, Google conferences, training sessions, all of the to support Google, that kind of thing. And you know, we paid for ourselves. If our school won't pay for us, we'd fly ourselves in. You know, we're paying our own accommodation for this cause. And it's, you know, sometimes I find it quite frustrating that we're doing a lot for Google as in a brand. We are the best advertising they could ever get. And yet, you know, we feel grateful if we get a T-shirt.
But you're taken care of when you're in the academy, right? Because
I mean,
during when you're there in the academy itself, everything is taken care of for you, right?
Well, there was almost a backlash when we didn't get our sodas. You know, Google was amazing, but about day 2, we're like, wait a minute, they're serving us all healthy food and drink. This is ridiculous. So there was a bit of a backlash.
Using natural ingredients, whatever next.
Where we were like, right, if we don't see any Coke or Sprite or chocolate bars, we're going to rebel. And Eileen was great. The next day, we had our bad carbs.
Wait, don't forget to mention the third day, the end of the third day, the graduation. Sorry, we had a party, right? When did it happen? Third day, right?
I don't know, but they definitely gave us the pizza on the Saturday. I think they weren't pretending to be healthy by that point.
Yeah.
That part.
I mean,
jokes aside, about the cocktail parties. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But I mean, jokes aside, obviously they do provide all the food and it's fully catered, and you get really good quality training. Yes, the coaches are remunerated for their time because they are doing a full-time job for their 3 days. And I think we sidetracked, a little bit from the process of application.
There's a lot of aspects of this that are all very interesting. Yeah. So I was going to ask Stephen, when did you say you got your Google Innovator status?
2014.
Gotcha. Wow, that's been a while. So does it require any kind of renewal, or you're just an innovator for life?
I think it's for life. Yeah,
it is for life. Once you are, you are.
Yes, but you have to comply with the requirements.
You do if you wish to be an active innovator.
Okay. Now, I do have a question as I'm it's sort of midway through the program. Is there an expectation that you are to complete your innovator project within the year? Asking for a friend.
My understanding is that so long as you made progress, the truth is that most of these projects are wildly ambitious and are going to take way more than a year. But if you've started the process and you're making progress, then I think that's absolutely fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between an active innovator and an inactive innovator?
Often it's the very basics, like you've given them your up-to-date email. You might have done some training. You might have filled in a simple form. It's very simple, but it's amazing, unfortunately, how easily you can lose touch with people if you change jobs and change schools. So that's how, I mean, Google's trying its best to try and keep a track of lots of people, and they do need to kind of track the emails and basics. And
so it's no big deal to
not
reactivate if you
just get back
it
really isn't. Yeah.
I have one item to add to that one. I have one item to add to that. Aside, if you're an active innovator, you'll be part of the Google for Education directory. Your name will appear there. So people can contact you directly. You'll receive the email if they try to contact using the Google for Education directory, Innovator, and trainers. So that's one plus. You're an active one.
I am annoyed that the admins are not listed there, because the admin test is a really hard one, and sadly they are not listed there. No.
But the admin is for a specific person. A lot of those admins definitely do not want to be contacted, because you will be sold tons of servers and software and educational software. So I think it is a conscious decision. If you want to advertise the fact that you passed the admin exam, you obviously got your certificate and things, but trust me, being an admin, you would get tons of junk mail, because everybody want to sell you something.
But that's an interesting point, because we were talking today in school about having that support network for administrators, and in KL, there's quite a good WhatsApp group for administrators where they can just put out, what are you using, or what did you decide to do with this, and get a quick answer back. So there needs to be some kind of network for them, but for each other, rather than, as you say, not a sales pitch.
Does sound like Ralph's got an Innovator project right there, right?
Yeah.
So Seti recommended him already.
Okay. So we've got 3 innovators, and Adriana, you say you're partway through it, and you mentioned a library a problem in need of a solution. So for those of you who have completed it, I mean, I've heard great things coming out of the program. Have you continued to use the solution that you came up with, or did you reach your solution, or do you have to reach a solution to finally be called Innovator? Is it just the continuing attempt that, I think I'm getting the impression it's a continuing attempt will qualify you? So how far did you get with your solutions, and how satisfied were you with them? That's for Gary, Stephen, and James.
Oh. Okay, there are times that there are times that you cannot really finish a project. You cannot find a solution. So you don't have to push and push and push, keep on pushing without really getting the solution. If you try several times and you think it's not working, you stop and change your project. You don't have to finish your project. That is where we during the innovation program or innovator program, we say we celebrate failure. So you don't have to finish.
Of course.
So you have to try and try and try.
Yeah.
And then you can start with a new one. So to maintain the innovator status, you don't have to finish your project. There's no pressure.
Gotcha.
But it's good to do something, to keep on trying. But if you can change it anytime.
Okay.
So there are projects that will take you 2 years to finish. There are simple projects that you can finish in a year.
Yeah. So Stephen,
I also think I would stress at this point that your mentor is there to guide you and help you. And the selection process normally means that all the innovators I know are dedicated, passionate teachers who want to succeed, who are highly motivated. The barriers to entry are high enough that you are getting amazing educators just by entry. So at that point, it's not a pass or fail thing. You've passed to get in there in the first place.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stephen, yours was a long time ago. Did you get something all the way to completion, or did you end up changing your direction from the problem that you brought into the Innovator program?
Well, I can say that the Innovator now is a bit different from what we have.
Yes.
Jerry,
Okay.
remember?
Mm.
It's very different because
Oh.
Very
the
different.
previous version is
Way better.
not really requiring you
Mm.
to have to run a
Oh,
project
gotcha.
after that, because
Okay.
that's the old version. I think they
Mm.
started changes in 2017 or 2000. Yeah, I think 2017 or 16.
Okay.
I think
Mm.
so. They changed. So they made a requirement. I think there are three words that very important for me. Like becoming an innovator. I think number one is, if you can see the blog post that I post, I elaborated
Mhm.
a bit. Number one is to transform.
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
it's the. I agree with everyone. You don't have to worry about the failure and everything. But number one thing, have you make a transformation? Have you changed
Mm.
things? Number two is about advocating. So
Mhm.
how many times have you been really advocating through social media? How you publish your work, even publish your failure, even
Mm.
it's about advocating things. And the last one will be about the growing process. I think that's
Yeah.
the thing that we really see as a true innovator. So that the three words is very powerful: transform, advocate, and growing. That's my best takeaway as a big innovator.
Gotcha.
Mm.
Yeah. So
I mean, the actual process itself has grown hugely. When I did it in 2012, my project was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed doing it. And I advocated for SketchUp, which is no
really?
longer
Okay.
owned by Google.
Yeah.
But it was a great success. But for me, the biggest takeaway by far was the network that it enabled and it brought in, was the connections with other people, and that has just been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And
I highly
given me
agree.
so many opportunities over the years, and
Mm.
put me in touch with amazing people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
you-
think
Go ahead.
you're so
I
right,
have
James. But
contacted so
also,
many amazing people without being an innovator. Sorry to interrupt you, Adriana.
no,
Yeah.
that's good.
That's
What
true.
Yeah,
you
but
say
imagine
Yeah.
what's out there, Ralph. If you've met these amazing people without Google, imagine the next step.
Yeah.
I do agree with you.
But in Ralph's case, he's had the benefit of a friend, basically. There's been a
Yeah.
lot of innovators helped him along the way in some ways. So
Yeah.
he's definitely tapped into the network, whether he knows it or
Yeah,
not.
it's already there. Yeah, but what I
No,
would
no,
say
and
as
I
well
feel
is that
very welcome.
you
Yeah.
start with one project, but it changes your mindset. That's
Mhm.
really what they set out to do. So maybe they're pulling you in with that one project, but they're almost getting you. I mean, it was a painful process.
Mhm.
I'm going to say to you, it was changing my mindset over 3 or 4 intense days was incredibly intense.
Yeah.
But when you come out the other side of it, you just see the possibilities, beyond that. So I'd always been someone who I felt had really good ideas, but I never felt I had, the initiative, the drive, the network, the connections, the support to move my ideas forward. And now I really do. So my Innovator project is just ticking alongside, and it will come to fruition, but probably not in the year. But also now, it's given me I wouldn't say the confidence, because you need to have that bit of confidence anyway, just generally as a teacher, for goodness sake, turning up every day. But it's just given you that initiative and the wider view that you can succeed in something, and you're surrounded by the right people with the same mindset. That's what I really, really like about it. Twitter and Google, people like James is like, a champion for me, because he's just so supportive. I've moved from being a classroom teacher to being a technology coach, and James was a huge part of my journey. Really, him
Thanks.
and yeah, definitely. Vipula, Jeff, who I replaced, you have these champions, but really they're just switching on your brain and thinking, yeah, you've got that mindset. Yeah, you can do it. Off you go. And it really does make the difference. Yeah. So cynical as I am about Google, they do have a very big place in my life. Yeah. So give me a T-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've earned it. You've earned
She's
it.
got a few, right?
Yeah.
Don't worry. Adriana, as per my experience, as time goes by, you will collect a lot. You will collect a lot.
Yeah,
So,
it's the
Yeah.
Asian way. It's just like
Yeah.
we're organizing something. There's a staff meeting on. We've got a T-shirt, right? I'm coming.
well, I'm making a mental list of all of the things that you get as an innovator, like in terms of support. And so what I've got right now is first you get the academy and everything that they offer
Yeah.
during the academy, personal attention. You get a partner that
Yeah.
you stay connected with outside of the academy. You get a
Yeah.
mentor at some point.
Yes.
When do
The
you get the
mentor is
mentor?
after. The mentor comes after the academy for the next 12 months.
For the next 12 months. Wow. Okay.
Yes.
And so,
Yeah.
and I imagine once you've established that, it might even continue beyond that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I am
Yeah.
sure the relationships continue beyond that. But for those 12 months, your mentor is committed to meet you once a month, online
Wow.
mostly.
Okay. Yeah.
Or if you're in the same city, then you can meet in
Okay.
person.
And so,
Yeah.
like, so sometimes people come up with, products that, and I can't remember. Just one time, Sethi listed some that were pretty impressive because I'd heard of them, and they
See,
were.
like Breakout
Yeah.
EDU.
Oh, right. Yeah,
They
that was
told
one
us
of them.
that Breakout EDU came
Yeah.
out of,
Uh-huh.
they had the idea
Innovator.
of the escape room, but how
Yeah.
how could they translate that excitement into the classroom? And
Well,
now,
so, yeah.
we've all got a box of that knocking around somewhere.
Well, so then you've got that, and then does Google offer you any further support, or like, is there any kind of a fast track to becoming a Google partner or anything like that if you have a product that comes out of that?
I mean, the Google partner thing is separate because most of the educators aren't developing software.
Okay.
But you would have access to Googlers on the inside and access to the educators to push out your product much easier and trial it and things.
Right, of course.
But
The
as
one
I
thing I
say,
didn't mention,
educators come in all shapes and sizes in terms of development. So if somebody was that way inclined, then just having access to all those innovators would make it a lot easier. But then the partner track is a separate thing.
Okay. And you said something. Oh,
Because
darn it! I
basically
can't
most
remember.
teachers don't have time to be doing full-on development, you see.
I remember. That's what it was. It was software. So you said most innovators aren't developing software. So then is there a consistent thing that is more common, or is it just all over across the board? What kind of things are representative of Google Innovator projects?
I think a lot of Google Innovator projects are based around improving teaching in one way or another. And I think that's the real consistency.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's with creating templates, software, lesson plans. Sometimes it's sharing ideas. But yeah, it is generally improving teachers or improving the life of teachers. And I say sometimes software development is the way to do that, and sometimes it's video, a lot of videos as well. It's quite a gamut of things as to what's the most appropriate way to do it. But full-on new software programming is a rarity, but it's absolute platinum when it happens. That's like if you get a superstar project going on like that, then chances are it's going to do incredibly well. But even creating templates or using sheets or creating resources, you're going to create amazing things for other educators.
Yeah. Okay. So, let me see. The common element between these things would all be that somewhere in the process, it's vital that they involve Google products. True?
Ish. Yeah. Mostly they're focused around Google products. But if they're going to make, generally there have to be at least a technological theme, and they're about making the lives of teachers better. So yeah, you wouldn't want to be a Google innovator and learn about all the Google products to be doing something. But there are Google innovators who go off on that tangent and actually say, well, actually this helps improve or that helps do it, and it might not actually involve any Google products in the end. It might be even a non-technical solution. It's Google is doing it in their non-profit motive in that sense.
Okay.
And Google are much more open than some of the other companies to using rival tech.
Can I just
they always
ask,
think about the best job.
Because that throws the question out there. If you are in the academy and the process and stuff, if you develop something, Who owns the product? Yourself or Google? Or does Google have a little
well, the
percentage
chances are
of
you
it?
have
That's
to
quite
publish it through Google, so they will take their usual percentage.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
What does it mean to publish something through Google?
I mean, you're going to put it through the App Store or the Google Chromebook store, so they'll just take their usual whatever it is.
Okay. Right.
You know, if it's the Google Books, then yeah, again, they just take their usual. But you know, if it's given for free and open source, then everybody wins because nobody's getting paid anything.
Yeah. Huh. You know
So
something?
how do I win?
Yeah. I didn't realize that the Google Chrome store takes a percentage, because you can actually sell a product, like do your own through your own sales mechanism outside of that, but you can still have it listed in the store. So I didn't realize.
Yeah, so basically, with that particular example, the money that Google's making is from the sale of Chromebooks and admissions licenses. So it's a little bit more indirect.
Okay.
If that's your publication method. Obviously, if it's in the Android Play Store, if you give it away for free, it's free. If you're giving it away for money, they take their usual percentage.
Okay, gotcha.
Which I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think it's about 20% or 30%.
Yeah. So this program is going on so long. You guys are talking about 2012, and like I
32,000.
Just heard about it. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even in 2012, it was actually much smaller. I mean, I think back and my little video that I made with Windows Movie Maker at the time and all the little basic things that I did. And yeah, I mean, now the videos that we see, every one of them is of partly the technology's moved on, but near professional standard. And it's quite incredible how much sharing and things that is going on already before people become innovators.
Yeah, but it's the right point to say, James, that you have never stopped evolving and keep sharing. There are very few people I know who share away that much work as you do. And yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, what was your motivation?
James Innovator video application. I mean,
oh no,
I'm
James
curious.
programming.
Do we have access to those?
I'm very interested.
Yeah, I put it on YouTube, so it's
website
easy.
online.
Nice.
He has even when there was still Hangouts on Air, he has an own Hangouts on Air show.
Wow.
Yeah.
which was before
I down memory lane.
So
I mean, if you go back through my YouTube channel, it goes back, more than a decade.
You need to do like a throwback Thursday, something on Twitter or something where everyone just throws something that they shared from years ago.
Yeah.
Starting with your Innovator videos.
Well, the Innovator video is easy to get. I shared that with you guys on the Hangout. So, but I'm on my mobile, so I don't want to press any buttons like sharing screens or anything. But yeah, I'm happy to share that one because it was still fun, and I think I'm nostalgic about it now.
Oh, nice.
What does that mean, nostalgic?
Can I bring up with the Innovator Academy? So can I bring up, because it was a really big deal for me, when you get accepted to the academy and then attending the academy, I kind of thought, yay, I'm there. I'll see you in 2 months. But there was quite a bit of work that you had to actually do in between, including a parcel that came to, I was away for 6 weeks traveling, and I had to ring home to get someone to open a parcel, break into the parcel, and they're like, I don't know what the code is. Doesn't matter. Smash it. Get in there. Because I have a code that I have to share with my team to solve a problem, that kind of thing. So I don't think we were quite prepared for the work involved at the run-up. And when our academy was September, so a lot of people were starting new schools, on holidays, and, people were traveling back to America and that kind of thing. And we're all sort of running around trying to do, it was exciting, but the timing was just cracker crazy. Yeah. And I was like, this is just exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not so nice because, as you mentioned, Adriana, we've heard you. So every after, during we started at September 11, right? September 10, it was already the feedback was already given, and then you came. We saw you on the 10th and on the 11th, and you have this suggestions and comments right after you go get off the venue. We talk about each items that you put in the evaluation. So that's how they are trying to accommodate your request.
Wait.
I mean, I do know after that particular one, they have been working on it.
Yeah, it's not so much Google. It's letting the audience, the people who are wanting to apply, to be aware that know you will be, and it's all in the name of fun. But it was just sort of the timing where you're like, we don't know what the code is. Smash the box. People were getting screwdrivers out and unscrewing it because we don't know what the code is. Just get in the box.
That's innovative. That is innovation right there. Smash.
We were thinking outside the box.
You know, your coach would have given you the code. Worst case, right? We would have.
I don't know if you've heard from your coach. Wait, what is important is that you undergo the process. It's not important that you get the answer.
Yeah.
So there are things that we cannot really control. Like others did not receive their breakout edu box. So what can you do? So these things happen. So it's important. But what we want to do, you to learn is that the frustration, how you handle the frustration with the stress, with the pressure and everything as an educator. So you get the mindset wherein I have to work on other things instead of working on this one. So that's what we want to
smash the box.
So that's just one taste of what you had between you and getting accepted and then going to the academy. But what else? What sort of things were there? Was it about creating a team in advance, or was it like what kind of preparation did you need to do?
They have assignments. Adriana, go ahead. Tell them.
Yeah.
A lot of
obviously I had quite a bit of feedback to give. Yeah. We had to do videos. I recall we had to send videos. I mean, I was traveling through America at the time, so it's like 3:00 in the morning, and I'm doing a little meet and greet with my team. So I'm like, show willing, Adriana, get up for this 3:00 in the morning in, I don't know, Sioux Falls or something random. And out of my team, 2 people turned up.
Oh no.
It was perfect timing for them and they still couldn't turn up. I'm like, oh, great start. And Jessica was like, oh, that's wonderful that you're here, AJ. What time is it? 3:00 in the morning. But that's cool. Oh, okay. But I mean, I do see the value of the process. I definitely do. But I just think there just needs to be that awareness that the academy doesn't start when you arrive at the academy. You're going to do that prep work. You're going to get us set up. And it did bond us together as a team, definitely. So I applaud everything that you did beforehand. But there just needs to be that awareness to people that, you don't sign up, get in, see you at the academy. It's like sign up, get in, let's build our team. So by the time we get there, it just felt really natural once we got there and we were in our teams and we were like, hey, hi, cool, because we'd already stalked each other on Twitter and Facebook and, WhatsApp and whatever you can find on them. And so the team building, it worked definitely, but it's just you need to make us aware. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a key thing.
Short question. How much in advance did you get to know or who you will be teamed up with?
Interesting question.
1.5 months, around 1.5 to 2 months.
2 months,
right?
2 months?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, so you end up with a partner, but then you have this team. So you get the partner after you arrive? Is your partner from your team?
So within your team of 6 or something, you are partnered with someone. But even I would say that Michael and I, we were paired together, but he naturally had an affinity with Courtney because of their mathematical logic, and the way they were thinking. So they worked together a lot more, and that was perfectly fine. You know, even within the groups, just because it was kind of like he's a design teacher, makerspace, I was library, makerspace, that could work potentially. But, we're grown-ups, we're adults. He was like, oh, I'm going to work over here. And I was like, okay, I'll work over here with Sonadi. And so we naturally found our own pairings as well, which was really good. I would have liked more of an interaction with the other teams, but, it's hard finding the balance, isn't it? Because, if you start mashing the teams, you lose your team bonding that we still have. I mean, my team now, we're planning a reunion. It's just a case of where we're going to meet up. So, we're trying to do it on our year anniversary.
Wow.
To find a place where, we can all meet up again. And so, we have really good bonds, and we reach out to each other through, our little Google group, our Hangout and things like that. So it's a really strong
simple,
bond
Adriana.
there.
You have to become coaches, all of you, and then you will meet again.
I'm not sure I'm ready for that. I'm not really a coach kind of person. It's like, I was a bit negative about some of the aspects of it.
I am not sure, but you are a teacher, isn't it?
I'm a technology coach. That's my whole label.
So why wouldn't you be able to?
Yeah, there was a little irony there, given coaching as a full-time job.
Well, somebody is moving to library, so just
exactly. Yeah.
Oh, right, I see.
Hang with books.
Does that mean library without any coaching? I see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Spend more time with your books, less time with those people.
Yeah. I'll be discouraging the people from coming in, spoiling my lovely library.
Adriana mentioned earlier about the groupings and the pairings. There are a lot of activities. The schedule is for 3 days, but Adriana can say something about this, that 3 days is not enough, right?
No.
Yes, because it's, even though it's from 8 to 8, for example, or 9, I don't know if it's from 8 to 8, but in our case, during the Southeast Asian 14, it's from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and time is not enough.
Yeah.
During the SEA 19, it's, I think, the same thing. It's early in the morning until in the evening. Time is still not enough. I remember Seti was complaining that I have to rush them. Okay, we have 5 minutes for lunch. Please hurry. So time is not enough.
By the end of it, a lot of us were working by ourselves because we were like so overwhelmed with peopleness. And that's not a negative, but when you're like constantly and you're trying to get on, you don't want to be the one that falls out with everyone and sits by themselves for lunch. But by the end of it, you could see we were a bit like, I'm just going to work in the corner by myself.
So, Gary, did you?
I think it's important to say it's basically a boot camp those 3 days, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because schools are very unwilling to give much time. That's why it's a 3-day. It could easily be a 5-day boot camp, but we know no school on this planet is likely to let you out for 5 days. 3 days is already pretty hard work for some.
Yeah, I wish Google would do a bit more marketing to schools about, because it is quite an amazing achievement. At the end of the day, there are a few thousand people in the world, and yet when you go to your school, I mean, my school was great because Jeff had gone through it the year before, so he'd like bigged it up. And so this is an amazing achievement and it's good kudos for your school, which it is. But, a lot of schools are just like, what's that?
So I'm very passionate about this point because in Europe, Germany is one of the countries which is very much Google phobic. So Google does absolutely not have any step into public schools in Germany whatsoever. None.
Wow.
And now here comes the big argument from so many haters and phobics who say that these tech companies want to already bind the very young users to them for life.
Oh, right.
And I can see that there is some legitimacy to that argument. However, I do not agree, and never. My go-to argument there is usually that you can anonymize the usage in the classroom, or you can give them fake names or use even numbers. So,
I mean, I don't think Google is going to abuse the data, and I would trust Google, frankly, more than nearly all governments, frankly.
But James, you have met people who just straight talk back to you that they don't believe you, or that it's silly.
And that's absolutely fine. And the bottom line is that they need to be aware that if they're going to put their data on the internet, the only safe way as a school is to literally not put your data anywhere. But every school I've seen that has rejected Google or Microsoft, to be honest, any of the big companies or Apple, often they're storing their data in a far less secure manner and not really looking after their data. Whereas Google do have your interests at heart, Microsoft do have your interests at heart, and Apple do have your interests at heart in terms of protecting data. However, I would say the second half of the argument that Ralph went on about trying to get kids onto your ecosystem is absolutely true. And I think we as educators need to be fully aware of that. And we do need to mix and match a little bit. We do need to make sure. And the other thing I find is that other companies, I don't think that's appropriate for you. Now, if you're talking about using open source software that's guaranteed to be free forever, I'm all with you. If you're going to use Linux and you're going to use OpenOffice and you're going to use genuine open source software, many of which have been supported by Google over the years, in terms of technical development, etc., then that's great. But a lot of the people who have these arguments don't back them up with anything credible.
Yeah, but it's difficult sometimes to talk with these people because they don't want to listen because they're so badly influenced by the media in that country or whatever.
I mean, that's okay though. If they don't want to choose it, then that's their choice, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but as you know, it is very stressful for people who see the ability of these tools and then they are prohibited to use them in the classroom for some silly reasons. Like there are still some schools or many schools around the world who prohibit the use of phones generally, without any exception. But I wanted to say that we came from a point where we talked about the marketing of Google in education, and that is the dangerous point where if they risk a big lip to market in that area, then they can get into the focus of a very badly mannered discussion. And the other thing is that I wanted to say that we as tech integrators, lovers, teachers, whatever, librarians who use tech, anybody who uses tech with passion, we do not teach programs, but we teach processes. So we do not teach Adobe Photoshop. We teach how to use layers and different selection methods to work with, or improve an image or make a collage. And if we say now we use Google for that collaborative word writing thing, then it's perfectly fine to learn that we can collaboratively work together. And if it is in 10 years not Google but whatever, Facebook documents, or then we use Facebook documents altogether, so that the skill and the knowledge that we can now work together on a document in real time is what we as teachers should convey, not use Google or use the iPad or whatever.
And I think that's a great difficulty for educators because it's very, very difficult to do unbranded stuff, and honestly, it's incredibly generous of Google to have given so much storage and so much space and all of these things. But actually, in the long run, it is karma. They get it back because when those kids go out into the world, they'll say, why are we not using Google Docs? Why are we not using... And, a lot of them are now using WhatsApp professionally and things like that.
And they exactly say, we can do that and that with it. They don't say, I want Google. No, they say, because we can do that and that with that.
And I think that's fair, right? And also, competition's good because if one company can do it and another can't, they catch up. You look at Office 365, you look at Google, you look at Apple, they keep on. They all have their strengths and weaknesses, and they always keep on trying to address them.
Yeah. Well, and one thing though, familiarity. Familiarity has amazing magnetism. Like even
That
if a
is, yeah.
if a product is better, that's not enough to pull you off a product that's familiar. It has to be significantly better. And so they really are getting an anchor.
Yeah.
And the fact is, I don't know, they're good enough. They're useful. They're very useful. And
Yes.
so I don't know. I mean, we're going to use something, and if they're going to offer it, especially if they're going to offer it for free, I think it's a fair trade.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
It's for free, and that is a really good price.
I would say it's hard to beat.
PewDiePie is on holiday the 15th day or 16th day already.
Yeah, it is. And as I say, to offer something for free, I know Google could have charged for this. I mean,
Totally.
they definitely, and it's a 10-year vision for it to actually pay back, but it is paying back now.
Yeah.
And I think that's thanks to those guys, because I know the guys who originally said we're going to do it for free, everybody thought they were mad. Until they realized the long-term vision, and they said, well, actually, those other less generous companies at the time, oh dear, maybe we should have done the same.
Yes. That's the vision of Google, right? Make it available for everyone.
Yeah.
Well, I think
not just
we
them. Bill
mentioned
Gates
it
was a good
last
one
week.
for that.
We mentioned it last week, I think, as well, though, that it's hard to get out of that mindset now, though.
Yeah.
So I'm very much like, I have to pay for this, you know, because I'm so used to not paying for stuff. And I think it was Sethi last week that says, or maybe even Eric that said, if there's a good product, sometimes you have to accept you need to pay for it. It's worth paying for it.
Well,
but
you have to
in your
pay
head,
for it
you're
once.
thinking, oh, but I get if there's a free product, then you know, why am I paying for yours? And you have to see that there is a different level, perhaps.
I mean, I think what's good now is we've got things like YouTube Premium and things like that, because either you are paying for a product or you are the product, and the advertising is to get to you. And I think that's key to understand. And as I say, if a company gives it out of goodwill, that's fantastic. And I know that Microsoft, Google, and Apple have all given amazing products out of goodwill. And they also say, look, these are the products we want to charge for, you know?
Yeah. Well, hey, we've crossed over an hour, and I wanted to bring this back back to Innovator, the Innovator program. I got, somebody in this group sent out to the group a link to where you could get notified of upcoming academies. What's an easy way to get to that? I don't have the link handy, but like, is there an easy way for people to look that up if they have become interested in being an innovator?
Oh, okay. One is you go to teachers Google. There's a URL that's Google for Education certification.
Okay, Google for
all
Education
the certification for all the certification for teachers like trainers, innovators are posted there. So for the innovator, they will be soon releasing the dates for 2020 cohorts. So I hope Ralph and Eric can join one of the cohorts.
Yeah,
and
I'm definitely looking forward to it.
We, as innovators, we have received emails if we want to recommend someone, if we know someone who's worthy to become an innovator. That is why I'm asking you and a lot of people if they want. So we can also recommend. That's another way of becoming an innovator.
By the way, when we say recommend, that means we're going to send you the details for Innovator. It doesn't mean you're going to get in, okay?
Yeah.
Everybody applies fair and square,
Yes.
We're just saying, as innovators, we try to recommend everybody to have a go at applying, because actually the application process will help, in itself is almost self-selective, because you have to make a certain video, you are making a commitment to that point.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Cool. Good point.
And I posted the link in the comments for the Google Teacher Center, and Stephen's link again. He's got you've got your blog, haven't you, Stephen, with the tips to applying.
Nice job on that, by the way.
Yeah, certified innovator. So that's helpful as well.
Yes. So there you go. The link is out there. So let me show it to everyone. There you go. If you're interested, we'll also put it in the comments area.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Cool.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So
but I would say, I applied 3 times. 3 times with 3 different ideas, and then got in on the last one. And I think the last one got in, I'd like to think, because I was just a lot clearer on the issue that I had, and it was something that was a little bit different. Once I got there, everybody had these really cool ideas that were a little bit quirkier, but they were simple as well. I was quite surprised about how, and I think maybe I'd been a bit too complicated on my first two. So I had a simple problem that I wanted to solve.
With your first two, did you get feedback about why you didn't get accepted, or you just didn't get accepted? Okay, all right.
I'm afraid the amount of applications is very large. So individual feedback's beyond.
Sure, not that I would not expect it, but it's interesting.
It's good that that Adriana mentioned that it doesn't mean when you did not get accepted in the academy or in the cohort that you applied for, it means that you're not good enough. It just means that there's too much applicants that they have to limit. So maybe it's good to join the other cohort or the other batch. So, but don't.
The standard is incredibly high, basically. So don't think a knockback is anything more than not this time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to that process. Like right now, I'm so busy as a teacher. I feel like I couldn't handle even the before stuff. But if there's a cohort that works, I'm really looking forward to that for next year.
And I would also stress that the work beforehand is not meant to be a huge amount. I think Adriana did.
It depends on whether you're traveling and all that. So.
I think that's the thing is that, and I think we have this year. I know they're going to be a lot clearer about when they're going to send things, what they're going to send, and all that kind of thing, because that feedback has been listened to. I'm very sure of it, because it did cause a bit of grief, to say the least, and and as I say, it is an improving process. I mean, let's be honest, all I had to do for joining the Innovator program was book my train ticket and say hello. Things have changed, but it's because and it was a one-day process when I did it. Whereas now it's 3 full-on days before, middle, and after. And as I say, it's become a full, very thorough coaching and mentoring program with fantastic training.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully get into it at some point.
Just like what
we have to motivate one another, Eric.
Right on. Yeah, maybe, who knows? We
Take
might
the advice of Seti. Just go for it, okay?
Yeah.
Go for it. Don't worry about if you'll get accepted or not. Just go for it.
Okay, well, this has been truly educational for me and for Ralph, who knew very little about this beforehand. Great information, and I hope that it's useful for a lot of folks out there who are also interested in the program. And if you're like me, I'm even more feeling more ready to do it and more curious about it. So, well, thanks very much, everybody.
Quick shout out.
Thank you.
Last word from our
Zoom.
Thanks, Ralph. Thank you
very much.
Any last word from
anything else?
Every Thursday, we meet here sharing our great, confusing, creative minds.
Yeah.
I'd like to just say it's New Zealand Day. Happy Waitangi Day. Aroha Nui. Big love. There you go.
Nice.
Okay. Congratulations to Craig for getting in after the third time he was recommended by Steven.
Yeah, very nice.
Good.
Craig Hansen
Very
in
good.
the comments. Yeah. Okay, well, everybody, sign off.
Steven, final words.
Bye-bye.
Steven,
welcome on board. It was great to have you here.
Yeah.
Nice to see you all here. So excited to join next time. Okay.
He's doing a great job in Indonesia.
Okay, Indonesia.
Thank you to
Terima kasih everyone. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Jumpa lagi.
Bye everyone.
Bye everyone. Have a good evening.
Okay. See you next week.
Okay.